Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant, watching the stars through the massive view screen. The year was 2387, and humanity had been part of the Galactic Council for 37 years. It still felt strange to Jake that humans were now traveling between the stars, meeting alien species that had been out here for thousands of years. The Defiant was one of the newest ships in the human fleet. It was sleek and powerful, with weapons that could punch holes through asteroids. Jake had been commanding the ship for 3 years now, and he was proud of his crew. They were the best humans had to offer. Lieutenant Amy Foster turned from her tactical station. She was young but smart, with short brown hair and sharp green eyes. "Captain, we are getting a distress signal from the Kepler system. It sounds urgent." Jake nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at an alien face unlike anything Jake had seen before. The creature looked like a cross between a praying mantis and a butterfly. Its large compound eyes glowed with a soft blue light, and thin antennae twitched nervously on its head. "This is Ambassador Kethvar of the Zalari people," the alien said. Its voice was musical, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "We need help. Our research station is under attack. Pirates are trying to steal our medical supplies." Jake leaned forward in his captain's chair. He had heard of the Zalari before. They were known throughout the galaxy as peaceful healers. Their medical technology was amazing. They could regrow lost limbs and cure diseases that killed other species. "This is Captain Morrison of the human ship Defiant," Jake replied. "We are on our way to help you." The relief on Kethvar's face was clear. "Thank you, Captain. We have never fought anyone before. We do not know how to defend ourselves." Jake felt something stir in his chest. These aliens reminded him of his grandmother, kind and gentle, but completely helpless against bullies. "How long until the pirates break?" "Through your shields? Maybe 20 minutes, Kethvar said. "They have big ships with many weapons." "We will be there in 15 minutes, Jake promised. He turned to his helmsman. "Lieutenant Davis, maximum speed to the Kepler system." "Yes, sir," Davis replied, his fingers dancing over the controls. The Defiant jumped to faster-than-light speed, and the stars became streaks of light outside the windows. Amy pulled up information about the Kepler system on her screen. "Captain, the attackers are Vorthic raiders. 3 ships, all heavily armed. They are known for being brutal." Jake had heard of the Vorthic, too. They were big reptile-like aliens who conquered weaker species for fun. They had scales like armor and teeth like knives. Most other species in the galaxy were afraid of them. "What do we know about their ships?" Jake asked. "Standard Vorthic cruisers," Amy reported. "Strong shields, lots of weapons, but they are old designs. Our technology should be better." The 15 minutes felt like hours, but finally they dropped. Out of faster-than-light speed near the Zalari research station, Jake could see it immediately. The station was beautiful, looking more like a flower than a building. It was under attack by 3 dark ships that looked like metal sharks. "All hands to battle stations," Jake announced over the ship's communication system. "This is not a drill." Red lights flashed throughout the ship as the crew prepared for combat. Jake had fought pirates before, but never to protect another species. It felt different, more important somehow. "Captain," Amy reported, "the Vorthic ships are demanding that the Zalari surrender all their medical technology. The station's shields are failing." Jake's jaw tightened. "Open a channel to the Vorthic ships." The screen changed to show a massive reptilian face with yellow eyes and rows of sharp teeth. "I am Commander Vixtar of the Vorthic Empire," the alien growled. "Leave now, humans, or we will destroy you too." "This is Captain Morrison," Jake replied calmly. "You will stop your attack, and leave the system immediately." Vexstar laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "You have one small ship. We have 3. Do the math, human." Jake smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "I did the math. You are going to lose." The Vorthic commander's eyes narrowed. "You will regret this, human." The screen went black. "Amy, target their weapon systems," Jake ordered. "Let's show them what human technology can do." The Defiant moved like a dancer, sliding between the Vorthic ships. Amy's fingers flew over her controls, and the ship's magnetic acceleration cannons fired. Beams of pure energy struck the first Vorthic ship, destroying its weapons in seconds. Second Vorthic ship tried to turn and fire, but Davis spun the Defiant around faster than the alien ship could track. More energy beams lanced out, this time hitting the ship's engines. The Vorthic cruiser went dead in space. The third ship fired everything it had at the Defiant, but the human ship's shields held easily. Jake's ship was simply too fast and too advanced for the older Vorthic vessels. "Surrender now," Jake broadcast to the remaining ships, "or we will destroy you." The Vorthic ships retreated quickly, disappearing into faster-than-light speed. Jake knew they would be back someday, but not today. "Captain," Kethvor's voice came over the communication system. "You saved us. How can we ever thank you?" Jake looked at the beautiful alien face on the screen. "We protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is what humans do." Over the next few days, Jake learned more about the Zalari. They were incredible healers, but had never developed weapons. They grew their technology instead of building it, creating living computers and medical devices that seemed like magic. Dr. Kevin Walsh, the Defiant's chief medical officer, worked closely with the Zalari scientists. "Captain," he reported, "their medical technology could save millions of human lives. And in return, we could teach them how to defend themselves." Jake nodded. This felt like the beginning of something important. The Shalari needed protection, and humans were good at providing it. The aliens had healing knowledge that could help humanity explore the dangerous galaxy. "Amy," Jake said, "send a message to Earth Command. I think we just made humanity's first real alien friends." As the Defiant prepared to escort the Zalari ships back to their home world, Jake felt proud. His grandmother always said that the strong should protect the weak. Today, humanity had done exactly that. War Commander Gexter slammed his massive fist on the metal table, making the entire room shake. His yellow eyes burned with rage as he stared at the report on his screen. The huge reptilian alien stood nearly 8 feet tall, with scales as thick as armor plates and claws that could tear through steel. "Humans," he growled, his voice like grinding rocks. "These new species think they can challenge the Vorthic Empire." Sub-Admiral Krexanoth stood nearby, trying not to show his fear. Even among the Vorthic, Gexter was known for his terrible temper. "War Commander, perhaps we should be careful. The humans destroyed 3 of our ships easily." Gexter turned, his burning gaze on his subordinate. "They got lucky. We have conquered 17 star systems. We have crushed species that have fought for thousands of years. These humans have been in space for less than 40 years. They are babies playing with toys." The War Commander walked to the massive window of his flagship. Outside, hundreds of Vorthic warships floated in space like a school of metal sharks. Each ship was built for one purpose: to destroy enemies and take what they wanted. "The Zalari have something we need," Gexter continued. "Their medical technology will make our warriors stronger. We will take it, and we will crush anyone who tries to stop us." Meanwhile, billions of miles away, Admiral Lisa Carter sat in her office on Earth's orbital command station. She was reading reports that made her stomach feel sick. Lisa had gray hair and tired eyes from years of protecting humanity's interests in space. "Commander Blake," She called to the man standing near her desk. "Tell me again what our spies have learned." Commander Ryan Blake was a quiet man with dark hair and sharp features. He had spent 5 years working undercover with different alien species, learning their secrets. "Admiral, the Vorthik are gathering the largest invasion fleet anyone has seen in 50 years. Over 200 ships, maybe more." Lisa rubbed her temples. "And their target? The Zelari home system. They want the medical technology, and they do not care how many innocent aliens they have to kill to get it." Lisa stood up and walked to her own window. Earth looked beautiful from here, blue and white and peaceful. It was hard to believe that somewhere out there, aliens were planning mass murder. "What about the Galactic Council?" she asked. "Will they help the Zelari?" Ryan's face grew dark. "That is the worst part, Admiral. Some council members are secretly supporting the Vorthik attack." Lisa spun around. "What? Which species?" "The Nexari. The Tholians, in a Centauri block," Ryan replied. "They think humanity is growing too powerful too quickly. They want to see us weakened in a war with the Vorthik." Lisa felt anger building in her chest. The Galactic Council was supposed to protect peaceful species like the Zelari. Instead, some members were helping murderers because they were afraid of human strength. "How long do we have?" she asked. "Intelligence suggests the Vorthik will attack within 2 weeks," Ryan said. "They are waiting for their final ship groups to arrive." Lisa nodded grimly. "Send a message to President Brooks. Tell her we need to talk immediately." Back on the Vorthik flagship, Gexter was meeting with his top commanders. The room was filled with massive reptilian warriors, each one covered in scars from countless battles. "The humans have made friends with the Zelari," one commander reported. "They have signed some kind of protection agreement." Gexter laughed. A sound like breaking glass. "Protection? From what? Their tiny fleet? We have more ships than they have ever built." "War Commander," another officer said carefully, "our ships that fought the humans reported strange weapons. Energy beams that cut through our armor like it was paper." "Fear makes warriors see things that are not there," Gexter replied. "The humans surprised a few raiders. That means nothing in a real war." The War Commander activated a holographic display showing the Zelari home system. "We will attack from 3 directions at once, even if the humans send their entire fleet. They cannot be everywhere. We will destroy their ships, take the Zelari technology, and show the galaxy what happens to those who oppose the Vorthik Empire." On the human ship Defiant, Captain Jake Morrison was reading the same intelligence reports. His crew was gathered in the briefing room, their faces serious as they learned about the coming threat. 200 ships, Lieutenant Amy Foster said. Quietly, "That is 4 times bigger than our entire 5th Fleet." "Numbers are not everything," Jake replied, though he felt worried too. "Our technology is better than theirs." Dr. Kevin Walsh raised his hand. "Captain, I have been working with the Zelari scientists. They have made a discovery that changes everything." Everyone turned to look at the ship's doctor. "What kind of discovery?" Jake asked. "The Vorthik are not just planning to steal Zelari. Medical technology," Walsh explained. "They have created a biological weapon designed to kill every Zelari in the galaxy." The room fell silent. Amy was the first to speak. "A weapon that targets only the Zelari? Worse than that," Walsh continued. "This weapon does not just kill them. It destroys their medical technology, too. If they use it, humanity will lose our most important ally and the medical advances that could save millions of our people." Jake felt cold anger building inside him. The Vorthik were not just planning war. They were planning genocide. "How long until the attack?" he asked. "Admiral Carter thinks we have less than 2 weeks," Walsh replied. Doc Jake stood up and looked at each member of his crew. "These were good people," Humans who had volunteered to explore the dangerous galaxy and protect those who could not protect themselves. "Send a message to Admiral Carter," Jake ordered. "Tell her the defiant volunteers for the defense mission. And send another message to Ambassador Kethfer. Tell him that humanity keeps its promises." Amy nodded. "What should we do to prepare?" "Captain?" Jake's eyes were hard as steel. "We get ready to show the Vorthic Empire what happens when you threaten our friends." Outside the ship, the stars looked cold and distant. Somewhere among them, hundreds of enemy ships were preparing for war. But Jake Morrison was not afraid. Humanity had faced impossible odds before. They would do whatever it took to protect the innocent Zelari people, no matter the cost. President Helen Brooks stood in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by screens showing star maps and alien fleets. Her face was calm, but everyone in the room could see the steel in her blue eyes. She had been president for 6 years, and this was the biggest decision she had ever faced. "Admiral Carter," she said, "show me the numbers again." Lisa Carter activated the main display. "Madam President, the Vorthic have assembled over 200 ships for their invasion. Our entire space fleet has 67 ships. And their weapons? Our technology is better," Admiral Carter replied, "but they have us outnumbered 3-1. In a straight fight, we would lose." Helen Brooks had been a soldier before she became president. She understood that sometimes you had to fight battles. You could not win, especially when innocent lives were at stake. But she also understood that smart leaders found other ways to solve problems. "What about a demonstration?" she asked. "Something to show them we are serious?" Commander Ryan Blake stepped forward. "Madam President, our intelligence shows that a Vorthic scouting fleet will pass through the outer edge of Zelari space in 3 days. 6 ships, lightly defended." President Brooks nodded slowly. "Admiral Carter, I am authorizing Protocol 7. Show the Vorthic what human weapons can do. Make them understand that attacking our allies will cost them more than they can afford." Captain Jake Morrison received his orders 12 hours later. The Defiant would lead a small human fleet to intercept the Vorthic scouts. Along with Jake's ship, Admiral Carter was sending 5 other vessels: the cruisers Valiant and Resolute, and the destroyers Eagle, Falcon, and Hawk. 6 ships against 6 ships, Lieutenant Amy Foster said as she studied the tactical display. "That seems fair." Jake shook his head. "Amy, we are not trying to have a fair fight. We are trying to send a message. The human ships move through space like hunting wolves. They use their advanced stealth technology to get close to the Vorthic fleet without being detected." Jake watched the enemy ships on his screen, noting their positions and weapon configurations. "Captain," reported Lieutenant Davis from the helm, "we are in position. The Vorthic fleet is directly ahead." "Open a channel to all Vorthic ships," Jake ordered. The main screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at Sub-Admiral Krexinoth. The reptilian alien's yellow eyes showed surprise at seeing human ships. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the human fleet," Jake announced. "You are ordered to leave Zelari space immediately and return to your own territory." Krexnoth recovered from his surprise quickly. His mouth opened, showing rows of sharp teeth in what passed for a Vorthic smile. "Captain Morrison, you must be joking. You have 6 small ships. We have 6 warships built for conquest." "This is your only warning," Jake replied calmly. "Leave now, or face the consequences." The Vorthic Sub-Admiral laughed, a harsh sound like metal scraping stone. "You humans are either very brave or very stupid. We will show you what happens to species that challenge the Vorthic Empire." The channel closed, and immediately the Vorthic ships began moving into attack formation. Their weapons powered up, and Jake could see energy building in their gun ports. "All ships," Jake broadcast to his small fleet, execute attack pattern Delta. Show them what human engineering can do. The 6 human ships moved as one, their formations spreading out like the fingers of a hand. The Vorthik fired first, sending streams of plasma energy toward the human vessels. But the human ships were too fast, sliding between the enemy fire, like dancers avoiding raindrops. "Amy," Jake called out, "target the lead ship. Full power to magnetic acceleration cannons." Amy's fingers flew over her controls. "Locked on target, Captain." Firing. The Defiant's main guns fired, sending invisible beams of accelerated particles at near light speed. The energy struck the Vorthik flagship dead center, and the massive alien ship simply vanished. 1 second it was there, the next it was expanding. Cloud of glowing gas. The other human ships fired at the same time. 3 more Vorthik vessels disappeared instantly, completely destroyed by weapons the aliens had never seen before. The remaining 2 Vorthik ships tried to retreat, but the human destroyers Eagle and Falcon cut off their escape. "Surrender immediately," Jake broadcast, "or join your friends." One of the remaining Vorthik ships powered down its weapons. The other tried to make a run for it, but the destroyer Hawk caught it with a single shot from its rear guns. The ship broke apart like a toy hit by a hammer. Sub-Admiral Krexanov appeared on Jake's screen again. This time, the alien's eyes showed fear instead of arrogance. "How? Your weapons should not be able to destroy our ships so easily. You underestimated us," Jake replied. "Now you will carry a message back to your war commander. Tell him that humanity protects its allies. Tell him that if any Vorthik ship attacks the Zelari, we will hunt down every ship in your fleet and destroy them all." Jake leaned forward, his voice becoming hard as iron. "Tell Gexter this. Harm our allies. Face total destruction." The surviving Vorthik ship fled toward the edge of the system. Jake knew they would carry his message back to their leaders. He hoped it would be enough to prevent a war, but he doubted it. The Vorthik were proud and stubborn. They would probably see this as a challenge rather than a warning. "Captain," Amy reported, "we are receiving a transmission from the Zelari homeworld." The screen changed to show Ambassador Kethver. The alien's large compound eyes were bright with relief and gratitude. "Captain Morrison, we saw what happened. You destroyed 4 ships in seconds. How is this possible?" Jake smiled. "Ambassador, humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We have learned how to build weapons that end fights quickly. The Vorthik will be angry," Kethver said, nervously. "They will want revenge. Let them come," Jake replied. "We will be ready." Dr. Kevin Walsh appeared on the bridge, carrying a datapad with information from the Zelari scientists. "Captain, I have bad news. Our allies have intercepted Vorthik communications. They are not calling off their invasion. In fact, they are accelerating it." Jake felt his stomach drop. "How long do we have?" "Maybe a week," Walsh replied. "And there is something else. The Vorthik biological weapon is already deployed on several ships. If they use it during the invasion, every Zelari in the system will die within hours." Jake looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere among them, hundreds of enemy ships were preparing for war. The demonstration had failed to stop the invasion. Now humanity would have to back up its warning with action. "Send a message to Admiral Carter," Jake ordered. "Tell her we need the entire Fifth Fleet. Tell her the Vorthik have chosen total war." Amy nodded grimly. "What should we do now, Captain?" Jake's voice was quiet but determined. "We prepare too. Show the galaxy what happens when you threaten human allies. We prepare to keep our promise." War Commander Gexter stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, watching as hundreds of Vorthik ships moved through space toward the Zelari home system. His yellow eyes burned with hatred and pride. No species had ever humiliated the Vorthok. empire like the humans had done, and now they would pay the price. Sub-Admiral Krexanov, he growled, report on fleet status. Krexanov stepped forward, still nervous after his defeat by the human ships. War Commander, we have 312 ships ready for attack. The biological weapons are loaded and prepared for deployment. Gexter smiled, showing his rows of sharp teeth. Good. The humans think their fancy weapons make them strong. They will learn that numbers win wars. We will destroy their little fleet, then kill every Zalari in the system. The Vorthic fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed at the edge of the Zalari system. Immediately, their sensors detected the beautiful blue-green world that was home to billions of peaceful aliens. Dexter could see the orbital stations floating around the planet like glittering jewels. Begin the attack, he ordered. Target all population centers. Show no mercy. The Vorthic ships opened fire with everything they had. Streams of plasma energy and explosive missiles rained down on the Zalari homeworld. The aliens had some defensive shields, but they were designed to protect against accidents, not military. Attacks. The beautiful cities on the planet's surface began to burn. On the planet below, Ambassador Kethvar ran through the corridors of the government building as explosions shook the walls around him. His people were screaming in terror as their peaceful world turned into a nightmare of fire and death. How many ships? He asked his aide, a younger Zalari named Vithka. Over 300, Vithka replied, her musical voice shaking with fear. Our orbital defenses lasted only minutes. They are targeting hospitals and schools. Kethvar felt sick. The Zalari had never hurt anyone. They spent their lives healing other species and sharing their medical knowledge. Why did the Vorthic want? To destroy them? Send an emergency message to the humans, he ordered. Tell them we need help immediately. Admiral Lisa Carter received the distress call while she was in a meeting with the human fleet commanders. The message was short but desperate. Help us. They are killing everyone. Please come quickly. Lisa stood up from the conference table, her face pale. Around her, the other officers could see the recordings from the Zalari system. Entire cities were burning. Millions of innocent aliens were dying. How long to get the Fifth Fleet to the Zalari system? She asked. Captain Morrison, who had just arrived from the Outer Rim, checked his navigation computer. 18 hours at maximum speed. That might be too late, said Commander Blake grimly. Intelligence reports say the Vorthic have already begun using their biological weapons on the planet's surface. Lisa felt anger burning in her chest. She had spent her entire career protecting humanity, but now she was watching an entire species being murdered. The Zalari were gentle healers who had never hurt anyone. They deserved better than this. All ships of the Fifth Fleet will depart immediately, she announced. We are going to stop this genocide. Colonel Dan Phillips, the commander of Human Marine Forces, raised his hand. Admiral, what are our rules of engagement? Lisa's voice was cold as ice. Colonel, the Vorthic have declared total war on our allies. They are committing genocide. There are no rules anymore. Destroy every enemy ship that refuses to surrender. Back in the Zalari system, the Vorthic ground forces were landing on the planet. Huge transport ships dropped thousands of reptilian soldiers who immediately began hunting for Zalari civilians. The aliens had released their biological weapon in several major cities, and already the effects were visible. Dr. Kevin Walsh would have been horrified to see what the weapon did to the Zalari people. It did not just kill them quickly. Instead, it made them sick slowly, destroying their ability to use their own medical technology to save themselves. Families of Zalari huddled together in underground shelters, watching helplessly as their loved ones died. War Commander Gexter watched the destruction from his flagship and felt satisfied. This is what happens to species that oppose the Vorthic Empire. he told his officers. The humans cannot save them now. But even as he spoke, long-range sensors detected something that made his blood run cold. A massive fleet of human ships was approaching the system at incredible speed. There were more ships than intelligence had reported, and they were moving faster than Vorthic ships could travel. War Commander, his sensor officer reported nervously. I count 67 human ships, including several we have never seen before. The largest one is enormous. Gexther looked at the sensor display. The biggest human ship was 3 times larger than his own flagship. What kind of vessel is that? Unknown design, the officer replied. But it is heavily armed and moving. This way very fast. For the first time since the attack began, Gexther felt a touch of worry. The humans had destroyed 4 of his ships easily with just 6 vessels. Now they were bringing their entire fleet, including ships that looked like they were built specifically for war. How long until they arrive? He asked. Less than 2 hours, War Commander. Gexther straightened his massive shoulders. He had come too far to retreat now. The Vorthic Empire had never run from a fight, and he would not be the first. Commander to show cowardice. Recall all ground forces to the ships, he ordered. Prepare the fleet for battle. We will show these humans what 300 ships can do. On the planet below, Ambassador Kethvar received word that human ships were coming. He looked out the window of his shelter at the burning city around him. Thousands of his people were already dead, and thousands more were dying from the biological weapon. Will they arrive in time? Asked Vithka. Kethvar did not know the answer. The humans had promised to protect the Zelari people, but could even they stand against such a massive enemy fleet? All he could do was hope that Captain Morrison and his people were as strong as they claimed to be in space above the dying planet. The Vorthic fleet formed into battle formation. 300 ships against 67. The numbers looked good for the Vorthic, but something about the approaching human vessels made Gexther nervous. The humans were coming fast, and they were coming angry. Soon, the galaxy would see what happened when you made humanity's allies suffer. The human Fifth Fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed at the edge of the Zelari system like avenging angels. Admiral Lisa Carter stood on the bridge of the massive dreadnought UES Retribution, looking at the horror spread across her screens. The beautiful Zelari homeworld was burning. Its cities turned to ash and flame. Admiral, reported her tactical officer, we count 312 Vorthic ships in system. They have formed a defensive wall around the planet. Lisa's face was hard as stone. She had seen war before, but never genocide. The Vorthic had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. All ships, this is Admiral Carter. Today we show the galaxy what happens when you murder innocent people. No mercy, no quarter. Destroy them all. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Defiant, now part of the advancing human fleet. Through his ship's sensors, he could see the Vorthic formation ahead. It looked like a wall of metal sharks, their weapons powered and ready for battle. Amy, he said to Lieutenant Foster, are our new stealth systems working? Amy checked her displays. Yes, sir. The Vorthic cannot see us coming until we want them to. The human ships moved through space like ghosts. Their advanced stealth technology made them invisible to Vorthic sensors until they were almost close enough to touch. War Commander Gexther had no idea that death was approaching his fleet from 6 different directions. Admiral, Jake's communications officer reported, we are receiving a transmission from the Vorthic flagship. On the main screen, Gexther's reptilian face appeared. His yellow eyes were filled with cruel satisfaction. Admiral Carter, you are too late. Half the Zelari population is already dead. Surrender now, and we will let your ships leave. Lisa Carter looked at the alien commander with disgust. War Commander, You have committed genocide against a peaceful species. You have exactly 10 seconds to surrender your entire fleet, or we will destroy every ship you have." Gexter laughed his harsh, grinding laugh. "You have 67 ships. We have 300. The math is simple, human." "You are right," Lisa replied coldly. "The math is very simple." 10 seconds are up. The human fleet attacked from all sides at once. Ships that had been invisible suddenly appeared next to Vorthik. Cruisers, their weapons already firing. The magnetic acceleration cannons that had destroyed the Vorthik scouts now targeted enemy ships by the dozens. Captain Morrison led the Defiant straight into the heart of the enemy formation. "Amy, target the flagship. Full power to all weapons." "Locked." "On," Amy replied, firing. The Defiant's gun spoke, sending streams of accelerated particles at the Vorthik command ship. But Gexter's flagship was bigger and stronger than the scout ships they had fought before. The enemy vessel's shields flared, but held. "Their shields are stronger than expected," Amy reported. "We need concentrated fire. All ships, focus on the flagship," Jake broadcast. "Take down their command structure first." 6 human ships turned, their weapons on Gexter's vessel. Under the combined assault, even the mighty Vorthik flagship could not survive. Its shields collapsed, and the ship began to break apart under the relentless fire. War Commander Gexter felt his ship shaking apart around him. Emergency lights flashed as systems failed throughout the vessel. "How are they doing this?" he roared. "Our ships are stronger than theirs." "Their weapons are too advanced," Sub-Admiral Krexinoff shouted over the sound of explosions. "They cut through our armor like it is paper." Gexter activated the ship's communication system one last time. "All ships, fight to the death. Show these humans what Vorthik warriors can do." But it was already too late. The human fleet was tearing through the Vorthik formation like a knife through cloth. Ships that had terrorized a dozen star systems were being destroyed in seconds. The Vorthik had numbers, but the humans had technology, training, and most importantly, they were fighting to save innocent lives. Colonel Dan Phillips led the human ground forces to the planet's surface while the space battle raged above. His Marines landed in the burning cities, carrying medical supplies and equipment to neutralize the biological weapons. "Find the Zelari survivors," he ordered his troops. "Get them to safety and start treatment immediately." Dr. Kevin Walsh worked frantically in a field hospital, using both human and Zelari medical technology to save as many lives as possible. The biological weapon was terrible, but it was not unstoppable. Working together, human and Zelari doctors began to find ways to fight the alien disease in space. The battle was turning into a massacre. Half the Vorthik fleet was already destroyed, and the rest were trying to retreat. But Admiral Carter had given orders that no enemy ship was to escape. "Captain Morrison," she broadcast, "take your squadron and cut off their retreat route. I want every ship that participated in this genocide destroyed." Jake's ships moved to block the fleeing Vorthik vessels. "This is Captain Morrison to all. Vorthik ships, surrender immediately or be destroyed." Most of the alien ships kept trying to run. The human fleet hunted them down one by one, their advanced sensors tracking every vessel that tried to hide. By the end of the day, less than 20 Vorthik ships remained, and all of them had surrendered. War Commander Gexter was pulled from the wreckage of his flagship, badly wounded but alive. Admiral Carter wanted him to face trial for his crimes against the Zelari people. "You cannot defeat the Vorthik Empire," he growled as human Marines arrested him. "We have thousands of ships across the galaxy." Admiral Carter looked down at the defeated alien commander. "Then they will learn the same lesson you did. Humanity protects its friends. Attack our allies, and we will hunt you to the ends of space." Ambassador Kethver met with the human fleet commanders in his damaged capital city. Many of his people had died, but millions more had been saved by the quick human response. "How can we ever thank you?" he asked Admiral Carter. "By rebuilding," she replied, "by continuing to heal and help others. That is what the Zellari do best." Over the following weeks, news of the battle spread throughout the galaxy. The Vorthic Empire, which had seemed unstoppable, had been crushed by a smaller human fleet. Other aggressive species began to reconsider their plans for conquest. At the Galactic Council, the species that had secretly supported the Vorthic invasion found themselves facing angry questions from their own people. Several governments fell, replaced by leaders who wanted friendship with humanity instead of conflict. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Defiant, watching as construction ships worked to rebuild the Zellari orbital stations. The alliance between humans and Zellari was stronger than ever, forged in the fire of battle and sealed with sacrifice. "Captain," Amy reported, "we are receiving messages from 12 different species. They all want to discuss protection agreements with humanity." Jake smiled. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans kept their promises, especially promises to protect innocent people from those who would do them harm. "Send replies to all of them," Jake ordered. "Tell them that humanity is always ready to defend those who cannot defend themselves." The stars looked peaceful now, but Jake knew that somewhere out there, other threats were watching and learning. Let them come. Humanity would be ready.